Explained by the Billy Meier Contacts. Fred Bell, Those Who Lie About Contacts, pamphlet, page 4.
Not a single person in America or elsewhere on Earth has had contact with Pleiadians until now, nor will they have any in the near or distant future. This also shows that I, Billy, am the only human being on Earth who has ever had any contact with the Pleiadians or will have had any contact. All those who claim the contrary, however, or claim that other people on Earth, or they themselves, are having physical or spiritual contacts with Pleiadians, no matter how, are simply always very conscious, contemptible, dirty, characterless and indecent, depraved, impertinent and morally degenerate, disgusting, miserable and despicable liars, cheats and deceivers beyond compare. Amongst those who stand out are especially Americans or those of American descent, however. People from other countries, for example, Germany, Spain, Italy, South America and France and so forth, fall into the same category of depravity, even though they are not quite as blatant as Americans. Names such as Fred Bell, Roberta Brooks, Siracusa, Rael, Andreas Schneider, Jonke, Gronke, Griscom, Penny McLean and many others are daily routine items.
Contact Report 193.
Thus, Lee Elders still promotes it that persons such as BC can work nonsense and can make a profit for their own benefit, which brings more harm to our cause than benefit. And as an order-giving person of this kind, I now order that Lee Elders immediately stops all absurd machinations of all kinds and starts to work in accordance with our instructions. In addition, this comprises the following major points. 1. The eliminating and repairing of all machinations, such as in the case of BC and Dr. F.B. The first step relating to this has already been done in that we withdrew our liaison groups in the USA and in Asia, because it is not right that visionaries and swindlers use us for profit purposes. But this has already been done by BC and Dr. F.B., as well as by several others, which was uncovered as a result of your last conversation. You mentioned that this Dr. F.B. and this B.C. claim that they have had contact with Sim Yase and Ta and with others of our European group, which in no wise corresponds to the truth, of course, because we have never gotten in contact with any Earth humans in the USA or otherwise outside of Europe.
Contact Report 230.
Also, the malicious and profit-greedy assertions that my daughter Sim-Ya Say is in contact with various Earth humans or even with humans from other worlds who are supposed to live on the Earth, which, however, is an unbelievable lie, which also only corresponds to an infamous lie of power and profit-seeking Earthlings, such as F.B. and R.B. Dar, among many others. Note, in the pamphlet, Those Who Lie About Contacts, which references this segment in the contact reports, F.B. is clarified as being Fred Bell.
Contact Report 233.
Notwithstanding this, if falsifications of the teaching, the writings, the truth, the materials, and the mission should still appear, then you should, immediately and without any mercy, order a stop to such activities and should reclaim all material, all writings and lessons, etc., and deprive those human beings again who would make themselves guilty of the falsifications, etc. Clearly and plainly, it has been said and explained that you would equally have to do this everywhere and all over the world, no matter how, when, and where such would arise. Your duty was and still is to carry out this request and to stop everything immediately if such arises. Thus you again have to take away all material and all writings, information, and lessons, etc. From all those who made themselves guilty and who still make themselves guilty of the offense against the mission and its rules, and of the falsifications of the teaching and writings, as well as explanations and interpretations, etc. This has happened in a great and bad measure, and of course, again in a particularly degenerate form in America, whereby Randy Winters, Roberta Brooks, and Dr. F.B., along with the falsifying of the Talmud Emmanuel and many others, are to be mentioned in the first place.
That is easily said, that I should again take away all material and the teaching and writings from these forgers, schemers and thieves, sneaks, and whatever else they all are that is otherwise evil. They are altogether so maliciously evil, nasty, and dirty that they could not care less for what is right, for respect, truth, and justice, and they all step into depravity with their feet. I have indeed demanded everything back from all of them, but just unsuccessfully.
Contact Report 236.
However, guilty for this are all those who are openly or indirectly your enemies, even those who call themselves your friends, but who deceive you and make a profit from your knowledge. Guilty for this are all those, such as all those in Europe, who work in various forms against you and your work. But also guilty for this are Randy Winters, Roberta Brooks, Fred Bell, and many members of MUFON and many other groups all over the world.
Contact Report 244.
Unfortunately, swindlers, liars, deceivers, charlatans and sectarians, etc., are especially marked in America and in large numbers, and probably in no other country on earth do they appear in such masses, and with such impudence as they do in America, regardless of whether they are RB, FB, GA, GG, Medicine Man, or whether they are in the hands of the people of the United States.
Contact Report 246 interesting, but also enlightening. Because it makes it clear that neither an FB, APL, AGG, or ARB, or any other terrestrial human being can have contact with one of the aforementioned. Since you as well as Quetzal, Plagia and Simyase declare that you are not in contact with any terrestrial human being or in any other way connected with any of them, apart from me. As Quetzal once explained to me, you, who we have just named by name, do not exercise any impulse contacts in any way, which are unconsciously taken up by earthmen, etc. Because such impulse contacts are made solely by apparatuses, because these are not subjected to any feelings and emotions, etc., as is the case with humans.
Yes, your words correspond in every detail to the circumstances.
The mentioned liars, swindlers, and cheaters, as well as several unnamed ones, unfortunately still work around with their lie stories.
Contact Report 252.
Very unpleasant, as well as other things, for example in America, where again someone claims to be in contact with energy and light beings from the Pleiades. This time, it is a woman whose name I have unfortunately forgotten again, but who is said to have written a book about alleged teachings from the Pleiadians, etc., which will also appear in German and will be a cult book in America.
I know that. It is about a certain B.M., who in her madness is also active as a trance medium, but who is truthfully nothing else than a cunning deceiver and fantasist of the same kind as the American F.B.
Contact Report 255.
Unfortunately, this is always the case, even with F.B. and his friends, who claim that they are in physical or telepathic contact with some Pleiades and especially with Ptah and his daughter Simyase.
Which is no more true than the story of fraud and lies of the swindler Adrain.
Contact Report 256. Contact Report 269.
Is there anything you know about a certain Janny King? Recently, I received a fax saying that this woman from North Queensland in Australia has written at least 2 books about
alleged contacts with me, which of course is just as much a kind of irrational, shady wheeling and dealing as the untenable claims of Penny McLean, Barbara Hand Clow, Barbara Marciniak, and Amora Kuan Yin, and others, who engage in shady wheeling and dealing and claim to be in some way in contact with me or with other persons or some spiritual beings of our people. In the same league also belong Fred Bell with his made-up contacts to my daughter Simya Se, as well as a Drain with his story of lies and the alleged contacts in Florida. We have from our side never had such contacts with human beings on Earth, except those known to you and only those to your person. And there are also no such contacts at present. And in the future, too, no such contacts from any human beings on Earth will materialize with any one of our peoples. But if human beings of the Earth nevertheless claim to be in contact with one of us, or with spirit beings of our peoples, then this is equivalent to a lie, to a fraud, or to a charlatanism. Also, schizophrenic processes and suggestive influences, as well as self-deception, etc., cannot be ruled out in such cases. Liars, swindlers, fraudsters, charlatans, and persons with delusional sickness of the kind who claim to be in contact with us are unfortunately more and more found on Earth. All of them are as a whole, and I must emphasize strongly all of them. Only poor lunatics, schizophrenics, or other delusional sick ones, or otherwise deliberate liars, swindlers, fraudsters, or charlatans. And it is in that context interesting to note that it is only since the time of officially spreading your mission, and thus your appearance in public, that we, Pleiades Pleiaren, have become the focus of public interest and have been abused by dozens of delusional sick ones as well as liars, swindlers and charlatans for alleged contacts with them, whereby all these sick and dishonest persons are assessed by practically all UFO circles to be true contact persons, and their delusional or lie and fantasy stories are accepted as true, even though no letter of their blathering is correct. While you as real contact person towards us are in an abusive way accused of being a liar and fraudster, and your evidence accused of being falsifications.
Contact Report 294.
But since we are already talking about sex, I would like to hear your word about the nonsense that the sect henchmen spout, which also applies to the Rail movement leader. So, the sect gurus and also all alleged contactees, who want to be in physical or telepathic connection with extraterrestrials or other dimensioned ones, consistently claim that the extraterrestrial or other dimensioned ones are gods, saints, God's messengers or angels, etc., but at least saviors who want to save the people of Earth from destruction, etc. These claims also exist in relation to you, Pleiadians, Pleiadians, and in particular to you. When I think of the fraudulent claims of those who are said to be in contact with you, or with other Pleiadians, Pleiadians, I'm thinking in particular of Janny King, Barbara Marciniak, Fred Bell, and Penny McLean and their ilk. Of course, Carlos Diaz must not be forgotten either, nor must Siracusa and many others who deal with people other than you.
We Pleiadians do not come to Earth as gods, angels, saints, or the like, and we also do not come to bring salvation, peace, freedom, love, knowledge, wisdom, and progress to the earthly world and to earthly men. For all these values must be laboriously worked out by the man of the earth himself, through his reason and understanding, as well as through his thinking, feeling, and acting. So we also do not solve any problems for the earthmen, because just as we are not saviors, we are also not omniscient, who we could solve and master all problems and evils. So we are not ultimate saviors either, but only simple people whom we do not rise above the earthmen or other people in the universe, even if we are generally higher developed in all things than the earthmen, etc. We only come here in the obligation of bringing certain values of knowledge, etc., to man of the earth through you, as well as through tele-impulse impressions, etc., unconscious for man of the earth, which he himself must grasp and compile to knowledge. And as I said, as mediator between the Earthman and us serves thereby our only contact person living on Earth, namely you, Edward, to whom you are called Billy according to your destiny, together with the name Edward Albert Meier given to you at birth. And you too, as our messenger, are not omniscient and not salutary, for knowledge and salvation must be created by man on earth himself.
Contact Report 312.
FB has contacted us on the internet complaining that we are revealing his name in connection with his hanky-panky about alleged contacts of his with your daughter, Simya Se. He wants us to have his name removed from the internet. I do not agree with this, however, because his untrue allegations should be made public, I think. I think, however, that perhaps some words in the text should be changed so that less aggressiveness is expressed, because you know that in Switzerland and elsewhere in the world we are no longer allowed to call a spade a spade. Otherwise, legal action will be taken against me and ourselves, such as the removal of his name from the internet.